Sick. All right, everybody, welcome to the Art of Human podcast. I am your host, Christian Rodriguez. Today, I bring to you the first ever guest to come on the podcast. He was on Human to Human EP number one.
Oh,
Uh, Matter of fact, technically speaking, there was other people on the podcast before him because there was the first Talking with Strangers, I believe, was before that. But he was the first one-on-one guest to come on the podcast. His name is Marlon Rodriguez. He is my one and only living brother. Because to be very honest, we do have a brother who passed away before we were both born. But he is my brother. And Marlon, say hi to the audience if you'd like.
hey, what's up, everyone? Hello, greetings, bonjour, hola, aloha, everything, every form of the way hi.
Okay. Because, yeah, honestly, there's been occasions where there's been people tuning in from other countries.
Mm.
So that may be useful.
Oh, yeah, Guten Tag, like good day in German. Guten
Okay.
Tag.
Good talk. Marlon, how about we start off by just telling the audience a little bit about yourself?
Tell the audience a little bit about myself. See, this is something I learned in school. This is called your elevator pitch talk. Like, who are you? My name is Marlon Marin Rodriguez. Talking about school, I went to Cal Poly Pomona. I got my bachelor's there in hospitality management. When I was there, it's called the Collins College. It's like a really awesome program there. I mean, I would say even one of the top programs on campus. Is just very well funded. And the reason why it's well funded is because the alumni system within our college is so like they're so invested into the youth, which I love that. I love that giving back to people going to school and trying to acquire knowledge. So I always looked up to that, and that's why I always really appreciated my school. But from school, prior to that, I was always interested in music. So growing up, I mean, in seventh grade, I used to write lyrics in a group called Greenhouse Effect, and that was just me writing like random stuff. It's funny, we always wrote it down on a piece of paper, but we never actually like all rapped it. We all just wrote a song on a piece of paper, but we never actually rapped it. And then growing up, I listened to more EDM, and my music started, like, my music taste, my palette was expanding, and I just got back into hip hop. I didn't get back into it, but I did get pretty absorbed into the world of hard style, hard trance. Like, Christian, you used to hear me,
Yeah.
used to hear me at the house,
I
but
used to shuffle with my brother as well and Tectonic, and we'd go to clubs. I probably went to more clubs in high school than I did after that.
yeah,
But
that's
go
true
ahead.
actually. No, that's actually true. But it's funny because we never went to, like, necessarily get drunk or drink, or we were there to dance and for the music. That's what it was all about.
And we can't deny that probably because of the girls too.
I mean, that is something that it does add to the
I
environment.
mean, not just the girls. Obviously, hanging out with other guys is cool too. But
No, I mean, yeah, we all got to hang out and see each other, and not, I guess, for me, a big part of it was being my friends, dancing, and the music. I didn't really, whenever we went to those things or to like a club, we were like in our own little circle,
yeah,
but we're just enjoying the ambiance of being out with a bunch of people. But yeah, I mean, from then on, I guess, once I got to college, I really just I was going around during like not a book club, club fair, or yeah, like a fair for different clubs on campus, and I saw the four elements of hip hop, and I instantly saw the table. I was like, damn, like, I love hip hop, man. Like, and they were like, they had the four elements of hip hop. It wasn't just rapping, it was MC, it was graffiti or tagging, or I would just say art in general. And then they had music producing and then breakdancing. And yeah, from then I joined there, and I used to just dance because I always loved dancing, especially from my hard trance there. Like my brother was saying, we used to shuffle and dance. Uh, but yeah, I started with breakdancing and popping and all that different stuff, and eventually, I was like, you know what? Since seventh grade, I wrote all these lyrics. Why don't I just try laying them down, or try rapping here at least. And it was a steady process of, because you're an instrument at that point, and I really had to learn how to use my instrument, my voice. And yeah, since then it's just I've just grown a lot, through the hospitality industry, through the music industry, through spiritual endeavors, and just trying to, what we're all trying to do, trying to compute, trying to understand and articulate what's going on in this universe. And it's pretty much the three things about me. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of hard to sum up a person in one question like that. But like I said, that was my elevator pitch talk, like we said, from college. That's what I do. I don't know. My brother Christian, you said I'm multifaceted, and yeah, I like reading. No, actually, let's do some real shit. Like, I like reading. I love reading. This last year, I would say I read like 10 to 11 books, and it's awesome. It really helped me with my own self development, and just like I said earlier, just articulating this reality. Um, so yeah, I love reading. I love rock climbing. I'm so glad the rock climbing gyms just opened up, and I know me and my friends are gonna go rock climbing too. I like working out too. Like on the gym, I like hiking. I like meditating. I
What
like
are what are what are your top books? What are your
my
top five maybe?
Well, it depends, I would say, on the genre, but overall, let's say like just the book called The Alchemist is one of my favorite books. It's because I love fiction, but it's like spiritual and it has a fiction element to it, but it's not too like unbelievable. So it has like this realistic charm to it. And it just reminds you that everyone has the treasure inside, the treasure that you're looking for, you have within you. And it's kind of like similar to this quote. So essentially there was like this beggar or this homeless person sitting on the box, right, asking for money. And I don't think it was the Buddha, but it was someone of that nature walking by. And the guy was like, can I please have some money? And the Buddha, whoever the wanderer who was walking by, said, "Oh, why don't you look in that box?" And the beggar was like, "No, there's nothing in that box. It's a useless box. Look at it. And he's like, just at least open it. So then the beggar opens the box, and there's this chock full of gold and whatever, riches and money. And it was all right there on that box that the guy was sitting on the whole time.
Mm.
And kind of ties back to that analogy of like why The Alchemist is my favorite book, is because it kind of teaches you about finding the treasure. Like in this whole book, he's like trying to find this treasure, but then evidently you find it, it's all within him. I don't know, it's just a really good book. I really recommend it. He also has Paulo Coelho, I think that's how you say his name. He's like from Brazil, but
The
he has another.
author of The Alchemist, right?
Yeah, and he has his other book. It's called Hippie. It's just called Hippie, and that one's very interesting too. That's actually like the first book that I started this whole, oh, I'm gonna start reading a lot more. Well, I already have books I was reading in between, but that was like the one I was like, all right, I'm gonna go through this one and continue on. And that one's interesting too. It's like about a hippie, essentially not just a hippie, it was him, like a story about himself, going to Amsterdam, and from there traveling like this specific trail that they used to follow, because that's like all the places that was like very cheap. Like they were living like on dollars a day, or they're barely living on. I mean, everyone lives on dollars a day. I mean, like $1, $5 a day, like, or even that was the thing. It was this crazy story from traveling through Europe through this hippie trail, pretty much. And there's like different spots and free places where you can sleep at, and it was just wonderful because it's about like adventure. And I think everyone wants to do that. Everyone wants to just pack their bags and go somewhere and travel for months. And I was really enamored by like that hippie era in that moment when I read that, because it was just a really captivating book. So
Was
yeah,
that book nonfiction? The hippie?
it's like kind of like a book about his life. So
Oh, but so that was actually about the author himself.
yeah, like, but I don't know if he changed some details. I think he might have, but yeah, it's pretty much essentially about like his life and him doing that, actually going on that. I can look at the book and look at the name, but it's some kind of hippie trail where you would follow the trail through Europe, and you can see a bunch of awesome sights, and people will be meditating, or people would be like a bunch of hippies will be all grouped up in this area, and they'll be all be meeting each other, and helping each other out, talking about life stories and traumas and spirituality, and like like it's just really, I think that's yeah.
Okay.
I'll just
Uh, Marlon, obviously I know you so well, and for people listening, it's my brother. So I'm telling the listeners right now that my brother has definitely developed a lot in terms of just being happier, and I think just being healthier overall. In particular, probably in the last couple of years. So I just wanted for you to Marlon to maybe talk to the listeners and tell them whatever you're comfortable with, maybe a little bit about what you've learned in the last couple of years in terms of like just finding joy and just having gratitude and things of that sort, because that's something that I've recognized from you. And I mean, we talk about this between the two of us all the time
Mhm.
about each of our own growth in the last couple of years. But what do you feel like for you has been the most useful thing, or maybe talk about a little bit about your journey and some of the moments that just kind of really pushed you in the right direction?
Mm. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, well, moments in life, there's, I forgot what people call them, but there's just like these key moments in your life, like critical moments where you have a decision, like, am I going to change these behavioral patterns, or am I going to continue on? And it kind of ties all back into, um, me reading more books. Cause that was me reading was like me self-helping, me helping myself. Because I mean, at the end of the day, like, we can all go to therapy, but even at the end of the day, not even the therapist is gonna fully understand you. And I'm actually making a song right now, with Zen Stokely, and it's called Psyche, and it's about like, it has Alan Watts explaining Carl Jung's explanation of like, essentially how a therapist, right, or a doctor trying to help someone in mental need, like, they even have to accept their own demons before they can even accept the demons of the person, the patient. They have to accept. It's going to be hard for some therapists to even accept what you're going through, and it kind of adds this an extra wall or layer that is not going to help you out. So it kind of ties down to me, like I said, reading a lot, and just 'cause I really believe knowledge is power. And but it was finally me reading stuff that I really wanted to read. It wasn't a college assignment or a syllabus or a curriculum. It was just like, I'm gonna read what I want to read. And like I said, it started off with with that finishing that hippie book, but you know, um, the Genie Within. You got that book. That was another book that really helped me. And essentially, I was reading these books to just get us like a deeper understanding of self and being and conscious. And I think like the all encompassing question that everyone's like, what's the point of all this?
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, just to, like I said, to help myself. So reading through those books, like The Genie Within, that's why these books too, every time you read a book or you get into a religion, or, you get into music and you get a teacher, like, it's all about like, you take these things and use it in your own life the way you see fit. And it's very, you can't listen to what someone else tells you advice wise and then take that fully and not even think about your own self.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that reading a lot helped, or just my own journey. And I would say it wasn't just reading, but also meditating and looking deeper within myself. That's what really got me, because we pretty much look for external answers, when the answer is really within. We're always looking for external simulation, but there's a beautiful internal silence that really connects us to everything that we don't listen to. You
Mm-hmm.
get so caught up in the noise of, I mean, just to even sum it up is blah blah blah.
Yeah.
That's why monks be saying like, your brain's like a monkey brain, or your brain's like a monkey's. It's like blah 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 blah, blah, just saying a bunch of stuff. You can't really like take your brain full heart. Like, that's why what have fully helped me out. I go on tangents a lot. So if anyone keeps up, thanks for
Nah, don't
keeping
worry.
up.
You're doing good, Marlon.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is about your monk, like monks would say, your brain is like a chattering monkey just saying a bunch of random stuff. And it's like, when you give attention to that, you're giving attention, you can't give attention to everything. And essentially from all these books that I've read, I mean, I can elaborate into each book and into my each growth from each book and just different events. But like essentially, it teaches you that you're the observer of your mind. You know, the mind is a bio behavioral tool that we can use to help assist us in this life. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we had not sometimes a lot of us, we identify so closely to the mind. Like, let's say your mind will be like, oh, I'm a bad person. And you're like, oh, fuck, I am a bad person. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get so caught up, like, oh my God, but it's like, that's just your brain taking in, I mean, your subconscious or whatever you want to say is like your brain. I would say brain, mind, your egoic mind it's reflecting everything you take in from society, everything you consume online. And when we consume stuff online, this is a whole other thing, but when we go stuff online, there's different brain waves that we go through. And when you go online, you go through a state of alpha. And when you're in alpha, your subconscious is more susceptible to just consuming stuff and taking it wholeheartedly. So when you're over here just consuming stuff online with no filter, I guess, with no conscious of self, you just identifying with the media and the thoughts that you consume from it and the thoughts that you start inhibiting from consuming all this stuff. Like that's like your brain just trying to help you out in this reality. We can't just take it like I am my brain, I am my mind. That's why like Descartes did a beautiful thing. We said, I think, therefore I am. But it is that you are thinking does mean that you exist, but you are the observer of what you are thinking. So the tool, like the brain, your mind is just a tool to help you out with this reality. And let's just say your brain tells you are a bad person, right? And let's just say, but like that's not always true. Like there's perceptions of you or who you think you are. And you gotta even get past that. And the perceptions of yourself on you is like your egoic mind of what you think you should be or what you think you are. Like it's all this thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with thought, but we gotta, like I said, we gotta filter through these thoughts. And the way we doing that is by just realizing we aren't our thoughts.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Uh, d- obviously, I'm sure it's like a multitude of things that actually have helped you actualize that, or at least go in that direction to be more mindful of it. But what would you say is like the most useful tools? Like writing? Has it been creating music? Has it been just voicing your thoughts out loud, or like
I
in
mean,
terms of like actually externalizing what's inside? What has it been?
all those things you said, and I'm going to elaborate what all those things do. But you said a very specific word before you were when you were asking this question was mindful, right? Is mindfulness and being mindfully aware of the present moment of the now. That's what it really means. That's like that was the biggest thing is being mindful. Like we live in these illusions and fears that are just diluted by, like I said, overthinking. And eventually we believe it's real because our subconscious just picks up on us just thinking so freaking negatively. And that's why nowadays, like, people say, oh, I don't want to think positively. It's like me thinking fake, right? But it's like you thinking negative, that's fake as well. That's not real either. Those negative thoughts aren't real either. So it's like, but when you put positivity or positive thoughts or a positive feedback loop, or at least try to correct your thoughts, you're really gonna let yourself keep telling yourself, I'm a piece of shit. I'm not worth this. I'm not good at anything. But common thoughts that people have, like you just gotta like realize that like I said, it's just you consuming and stuff, but realistically, it's just being mindful. Because when we start living these illusions and fears instead of just living in the present moment, that's what really matters is the present moment. That's all that really matters. I mean, because other than that, before that, you're just living in illusion and fear. You're like living in a fake reality. When you're like it's like your brain is somewhere in another dimension and your soul and your body, your physical body is here. And that's the thing, we got to respect our physical body as well, like take care of ourselves physically, like get sleep, drink water, as well as get some sunlight. We're like complicated house plants but with like emotions, and like we can't just like, I don't know who really said this quote, but something like you can't like eat bad and sleep bad and not work out and think negatively and consume negative media and expect yourself to grow out of it, or expect yourself to get out of that when you're not giving yourself a fighting chance. You're not giving yourself a chance by consuming good food or giving yourself positive thoughts, or that's affirmation right there. It's a whole other thing we can talk about, but just giving yourself positivity, or giving yourself your body nourishment, or sleeping properly, or that's a whole other thing. So then the reason why people don't eat, sleep properly is because the way that society is constructed right now, it is not for the betterment of mass society. It's for the betterment of the people who have the most money in the world. And quite frankly, it's just a common person being tied down, and we're just slowly but surely becoming more conscious and aware of this. Like, we're all arguing and fighting amongst each other. I say all, we're not all doing it, but like you see it a lot on the internet, which people consume, is a lot of people fighting and stuff. A lot of people do fight online, and it's just because they're identifying with these thoughts and these opinions, and not realizing they're deeper than that. We're universal. We're like tied to it all, and it's yeah. I went on a tangent again. Tangents all night. Tangents all day.
So what about the journaling? So we go into the few
Oh
ones that I
yeah.
mentioned.
Oh, okay. Oh, so mindful. We talked about mindfulness. The one point I really want to say is, um, people say like about thinking positive is fake. Like that's not fake. Like just it's okay to inject yourself with some positive affirmations, or like tell yourself like, what, I look damn good today, or what, this poem I wrote, that this is beautiful, is wonderfully written. You got to start telling yourself this. You got to become your best friend and your coach. You got to be, because at the end of the day, we really just got ourselves.
Yeah, and just to add to that real quick, just from my personal experience, like I think when it comes to affirmations, and in particular, me and my brother both read the book The Genie Within, and if people don't know, the way you communicate with your subconscious is by saying it in the present moment. I am blank, whatever you want to fill in. And I think sometimes saying certain things that seem really, really far fetched, because let's say you really do have a low self esteem, it probably does feel like shit. Like for me, I never cared to say the affirmation, I am happy. Like that one just doesn't even feel right. So I prefer to tell myself the affirmations that will make me happier, will make me have joy in my life. So the ones that I would practice is I am patient, I am grateful. Um, I am supple because my body's tight as fuck. So I want to be relaxed and supple. Um, I am kind towards myself. I am kind towards the universe. So I'm basically feeding myself the affirmations that would make me happy. I don't have to say I am happy. You know what I'm saying? And I think just picking affirmations that you do feel comfortable saying, that don't feel super far fetched, or that you just feel comfortable saying.
Oh, I definitely agree. Once you start diving deeper into, because what this all ties down to is that words are spells. Every time you say something, you're saying a spell. You're casting a spell. So it's like, why not make it a healing spell?
That's
But
right. Yeah.
realistically, you're saying these affirmations, and like you said, you start diving deep, and like, oh, this is what I really want. Like I am a kind person. I want to be kind, more kind. I want to spread love, or it can even dive into deeper aspects of yourself. And that's what makes the affirmations or the spells more powerful, because once you dive deeper into the ideas of who you really are, not this fears and stuff like I was referring to earlier. It's like when we dive deep into who we really are, we can start saying these really strong spells, like these enchanted spells that can't be broken. Like it's when you start diving deep into self, you start saying some crazy affirmations that really make it happen, and a lot of it has to do with writing it down. You're talking about journaling, because journaling you can do it multiple ways, which I do different types of journaling. That's why I have my journal. I call it like a free flowing journal. It's not necessarily a journal with structure. It's just a journal that I use to either get stuff off my mind, kind of, because when you write all this stuff down, like sometimes you just oh, that's what I was gonna say. We're talking about energy and doing stuff, and the reason why all right, sorry, Chris.
No worries, bro.
What was the last thing I was saying before that? Because I'll explain all that at the end about the energy thing. It was about, we're journaling. Okay. So when you journal, essentially you can write. So let's say something bothers you, you journal it. You're able to examine it separate from yourself. It's not just caught up in the mind or the mind loop. And that's the thing. Your mind is going to keep throwing daggers and stuff to get you hurt, so you can get associated with that trauma. Or from one of the books I read, like The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, it's like referring to the pain body, you know, all the trauma, all the pain in your life, the suffering in your life. Every time you have a negative thought, it's trying to like get you to like, hey, pay attention to me, give me energy, feed into me, you know. But when you journal it, you know, you're able to journal. Essentially, when you're journaling down the stuff that bothers you, is negative, or you're mad about, you're essentially like writing down your pain body, and you're able to observe it separately, and you can get a clear picture of the thoughts, you know, because and then you can like look down at those thoughts and deduce it. Like there is some truth in some things that you're mad about or upset about. So you got to just look into the finer details. You can't, because when you're mad, you know, anger consumes the whole thing. So it's kind of like the idea of you can read a sentence and it meaning two different things, you know? Like, I don't know, like what wasn't it was an example of that like oh I'm so cool. You know, like that sounds kind of humble. Like if you say, oh, I'm so cool, like I don't, you know what I'm saying? It's like you add, it's just that emphasis. And when you have those emphasis in words, like when you finally journal stuff down, like stuff that bothers you, you're able to separate yourself from it.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, Marlon, is your window open? I'm just curious.
Oh yeah, let me close it. My bad.
Yeah. No,
Give
you're
me
good. You're good. Yeah, for everybody tuning in, as you can see, me and my brother are for sure related.
all right, all right.
I
Yeah, I was
just,
gonna. I was.
I just told everybody, I was like, as you can see, me and my brother are for sure related.
I mean, yeah, people look at us. See, that's the thing with us. People think we're either twins or we're gonna look related.
Well, not, I mean, aesthetically too, but I was saying probably just from all the things that you're talking about. I'm
Oh,
sure the
definitely.
people who have been consistently listening or who have listened enough, they'll be like, God damn, this is Christian's brother.
Yeah, and your elder brother. No, I'm just kidding. But
15 months older.
hey, I like that estimation. But referring going back to the journaling thing, right? So that's one aspect. When you journal the stuff that bothers you, that's very simply put, and you journal it, you can separate yourself from it. So like, oh, okay, you can take the little nuggets of information that you need from that anger, decipher from it, and then leave the rest out. Leave all the shitty parts out. The part that says fuck this person or fuck me, you know. And that's, excuse the language, but that's like, you know, that's another thing. I profanity is, I think it's just a way of expressing emotion too. But anyways, you
And
know,
real
when
quick, just to add what we're talking about,
Mhm.
interestingly enough, just recently, like a couple of nights ago, I had a moment where I received a text, and the text said something. I'm not even gonna say what it said, but it just said something, and it just
Mhm.
made me feel like a pessimistic emotion, like envy, or just kind of like very strange, like oh, kind of like like just kind of like a negative feeling. And
Mhm.
then I said, but there's nothing negative about it. Like in a very meditative place, I'm like, there's nothing wrong about it. So then I wrote it in my journal. I'm like, why do I feel this way towards this particular sentence? And
Mhm.
then it was like, it was so obvious. I'm like, oh, it's because when another person told me something similar like that, I had an expectation from that person. And then so when that similar sentence came up, it triggered that emotion from the past. And it was just, but then once I, like you said, I wrote it down, I opened up my notes in my iPhone, and it was just like, oh, okay. And then I even said, like, oh, thank you, Christian, for taking the time to like, just like actually check into that instead of just like, oh, I'm just going to keep on going with my day, you know? Like I checked that off my list. I'm like, oh, okay, that's why, like, it's nothing against that person. It's nothing, it's just a trauma or an emotion that I've associated with something.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of referring back to that pain body thing I was saying. It's just your trauma or, you know, that negative part trying to keep itself alive, you know? And that's the part of the ego mind that wants to keep you, that wants to keep this idea alive, you know? But you, like what you say, you countered that, you wrote it down, you separated. It's about separating yourself from that, because self isn't, you know, you're not your emotions trying to help you. I mean, you at the same time you are your emotions, because it's obviously reacting to a part of you. But what I'm trying to say is you can look at it apart from you, examine it from apart from yourself. But it is still you, but examine it apart from yourself. If that makes sense. So essentially, too, like with emotion, is we people treat certain emotions with certain, I would say, you know, descriptors. Oh, angry equals bad. You know, happy equals good, right? But they're all relative. They're all valuable. They all hold a lot of weight, and we can't ignore that side of us. So yeah, let's say you're emotionally upset about something, writing it down, that could release that energy, right? Or like, you're talking about things that help me. You're talking about journaling, writing, painting, music. So yeah, like maybe sometimes journaling won't get that emotion out, and then you have to just like slap some paint on a canvas, and then you start smearing your emotion on there, and you're like wiping yourself clean almost with paint. That's why I love painting. That's something else I really enjoy. I mentioned earlier, but I love painting, and that's something else that helped, or you can go for a run. I know, Kristen, you love running. You're a man of fitness and health. And at that point, that's another way of relieving that energy, because all these thoughts are energy. There's energy in thought, That's why we got to like utilize it, though. That's something I was going to say earlier, but it all ties down to us utilizing the energy that we get from this anger. So when you get angry, there's a powerful energy behind it. There's confidence, there's self-assurance, there's strength, but we could use all that energy towards something completely negative, i.e. when you get hella mad, you freaking throw your phone, or you punch a hole in the wall,
or you take it out on somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. Or you take it out on someone else, or you deny yourself food. I mean, you worked in the food
Eating disorder clinic.
Yeah, eating disorder clinic. Some people deny themselves food. I've done that because I've had issues with eating disorder. So it's just like you deny yourself food just because you were not doing it, or what I'm saying. Yeah. But man, I went on a
Yeah,
tangent
but
again.
in that case, it's almost like you're suppressing the energy, right? That'd be
That's
almost the
exactly.
opposite, right?
You don't want to suppress energy, and that's what I'm referring to. Like, there's no emotion that's bad. We just got to take it in. Like, what's it really trying to tell me? We can't label it as bad, because the instant you label it as bad, you're gonna view it bad and negatively.
You judge yourself.
You're judging. Exactly. Is this judging so hard? That's not that we judge ourselves so harshly. When you gotta treat yourself like a baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta swaddle your ass, and you gotta give yourself some warm milk.
And honestly speaking, I'd say probably the majority of people tuning into this podcast are probably, and don't get me wrong, there could be some people a little bit older, younger, but I'd say most people are probably like 45 or younger. And that's young as fuck. And especially, I mean, the people who are listening who are 20, 18, 17, 24, 25, like that's young as fuck,
Yeah, no, definitely.
Like it's young as fuck in the sense that like you probably spent 17, 18 years living with your parents. You didn't have too much choice in terms of your environment. You lived in a particular house with particular people. You went to a particular school. You went to a lot of things that you didn't necessarily choose to be there. So it's like, yo, like, of course, there's going to be a lot of residual things within your mind that are pessimistic, because that just so happens to exist in the world. And it's almost like an inevitable thing that there's negativity in the world. And so it just makes sense that you'd have to treat yourself, like you said, like a baby, but not like in a, oh my God, like, not like, because I feel like that even has like maybe like like a weird thing.
I'm just saying, like with a baby, you treat a baby very purely.
Very gently, yes. Yeah.
I'm just talking about the idea of pureness. A baby is very pure, very neutral state, doesn't have any, as a sponge, a baby's a sponge, hasn't really absorbed society or anything around it. So that's the way you should treat yourself, like very gently and wholeheartedly and purely. Because I mean, unless most people, they wouldn't do anything to harm a baby, is what I'm trying to say, I guess. And if that does happen, I forgot, I think it's in the court of law, but they say something like, would a sane person do that? Or I think it's reasonable, would a reasonable person do that? And no, a reasonable person would treat a baby very, very wholeheartedly. And then that's what I mean. I'm not saying like treat yourself like a baby and like, like.
No, I get exactly what you're talking about. I just, for whatever reason, I feel like that idea of treating yourself like a baby for whatever reason might like seem like a weird thing, but it's like, nah, it's like totally cool,
Oh yeah,
that's what I was trying to say.
yeah. You helped elaborate on the point. Yeah, it's just treating yourself very pure, wholeheartedly, with like, and I mean by that is because that's how we treat little kids. Because I think it's innate for humans to care about a baby. You're not just gonna see a baby and then not take like a baby by itself and not be worried about it. And it's like human nature. It comes from like our culture and stuff like that, like nurturing the young. And
that's like primitive.
Exactly. And that's what I'm all about too, about like supporting our youth. We all have limited lifespan unless technology and science helps us, get to a different level. But what I'm trying to say, we all have a lifespan, and we got to leave something behind for the future. We got to leave something behind for our youth and future. But that we were talking about originally about painting and journaling and all that stuff. But
And I think real quick, just to go on with what you were saying about leaving something positive behind, it's like I feel like it's almost inevitable that you're gonna leave something behind. You know, like whether you consciously put the effort or not, you're going to leave something behind. You know what I'm
oh,
saying?
but imagine if people started consciously putting more effort towards good of humanity or
That's what I'm saying.
good
Yeah.
of everything, you know? I mean, that's the thing we like that's what I'm saying. Like there's a lot of people like you let's just say you post a positive thing online, like I don't know, anything almost remotely positive. Some people will just shut it down, or like, let's say you post a video of yourself giving money to a homeless person, and I agree, there's some people who do it for clickbait and whatever, but at the end of the day, they're still trying to help somebody, or like, what I'm saying? People are really getting mad about someone trying to help somebody. Like, is this people like getting stuck in that negative, and it's really that the state of people is very bipolar, black and white. It's very yeah, black and white. And I say that a lot because in like borderline personality disorder, when there's black and white thinking, it's like you're transitioning from an absolutes. You're transitioning from absolutely this to absolutely that, and it's like that's not it. There's a lot of gray area, a lot of gray area. And so I think there's nothing wrong. We got to start pushing more light out there, pushing more light. And a good quote to like exemplify that is, yeah, we all see all this darkness around us. But like if you're in a dark room, right, and you spark a lighter, you're going to see that light in that room. It's kind of like the whole idea of a bad apple and a bunch of apples makes a whole
Mm.
bunch bad. It's like, yeah, well, I can in a dark room, I'm gonna be the light just that little light, bro. You can be that
Everyone's
little.
gonna look. Yeah.
Not even about looking. It's just gonna give people vision, clarity.
Oh, I get you. Yeah.
You're when you light that light, it's like that's why I think we should start pushing the idea to do positive things or good things for people. That's a cool thing to do. Like that should be a TikTok trend, that should be an Instagram, another hashtag, like it's just people don't even want to get caught up in that. It's like, oh, they're just trying to get clickbaits. But I'm like, yo, you know how many people try to get clickbaits from effed up things? Oh, I'm trying to see the reaction of my boyfriend when I pretend to cheat on him. Like that, you're telling me that's not negativity and clickbait? Like what the fuck, And it's just like people don't realize you just gotta what's so wrong about pushing love and all this stuff. I think we're just conditioned that we're conditioned to that point. Like it's almost like to help it, this because there's a song too in the intro of the song. It says something like, in a village, like in a small village, there's no I, there's we. There's we in this village. But with us now and nowadays, there's so much about the I. Like I said, it's good to dive deep and help yourself, but the whole reason about it is to give it out to the world and help the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Is to like help yourself to help others, essentially, because that's the whole point of it, because we live for each other, and we live because of each other. I mean, like society wouldn't be to this point if there wasn't a collaborative spirit with humanity, what I'm saying? Like, and then it's like people accept the reality they're born into. So a lot of people are born into a society that just has very like all about aesthetics or visuals and all this other stuff, or makes you feel like a common thing. It was like like unrealistic bodies for women in magazines or something, and that puts that negative thing in your mind. So we're like accept this reality, like, oh, I gotta look that skinny or that whatever to look good, but it's not even tied down to that. It's funny because businesses, even the news, that's why I try to like take my news from multiple sites, is because the news is just a business, a corporation trying to make money, trying to get more plays. So what they is like the whole ties down to clickbait. It's like, oh, like the news can talk about something negative and it's going to instantly swarm people in, and it's because it's going to give them more clicks or more views. Like, an interesting thing happened with, I think it was the Washington Post or New York Post or something like that. Essentially, that kid with the MAGA hat who was at like a school field trip, and there was like a picture of him facing this Native American guy playing like his drum or something. And the title like pretty much made the kid look really bad because of that hat, which I have qualms with that hat. But what I'm trying to say is they painted this kid in a negative picture. And I'm not saying the Native American guy did anything good or bad. No one's good or bad in this point. What I'm saying is that's just how like the media can use stuff just to make more views and clickbait. So we all got to be mindful what the media is feeding us, like, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know, it's just crazy, bro. Like, it's just crazy because sometimes you read an article, right? You read a title, it says something crazy, like something that's supposed to obviously trigger you. Then well, that's the thing. People don't actually click on the article and read it. You start reading it, and it says a complete opposite, or it says like, "Oh, things are unsure or unstable." But you just read this fucking clickbait title, and there's a lot of clickbait titles in life. But with
The click is like an absolute, but then when you go reading into it, it's like, ah, shit, there's actually a lot of nuances to this whole thing.
Exactly. And like it just goes back to the whole push. We should make pushing happiness and positivity, joy. See, there's a difference between happy and joy. Like joy is it comes from inside, you know, and happiness can come from externalness, but joy, like true joy, like comes from inside, you know.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that because I was just watching a video. If you go on YouTube, if anybody goes on YouTube, you can type in like Matthew McConaughey, and somebody labeled it like best 10 minute, like something about motivation for like 10 minutes or some shit. And then I watched part of it, and that's what Matthew was saying. He was saying like happiness is like, that's relative to the external, but joy is something from within. So it's like a sustainable happiness, or it's a sustainable feeling that comes from within, and it's not dictated by what's outside. Like, oh, I just ate this cookie, or I just watched this, or what I'm saying. Like joy can come from anything. And it's
Oh
kind of an
yeah.
interesting perspective.
No, definitely. And just say, I that's another thing we're talking about. What helped me, you know, just be more humoristic again. You know, just fucking laughing about things, or yeah, I mean, just being more like things can be funny, you know, like ironically funny. I think it's gonna be even like you could take something negative and laugh at the whole damn
Dark
situation.
humor.
Yeah, dark humor, or like, you know, like let's say we're talking about like Stoics, let's say like Marcus Aurelius, you know, he says this doesn't have to be something, this doesn't have to turn into something, you know. You don't have to react to every single thing. Like you can just observe it, analyze it, take the emotion in, realize what you're trying to take in, and then be like, all right,
You could
that's what I
laugh
got,
at it.
and then laugh at it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've laughed recently at some things before I'd get upset about. You know, it's just like, or like I don't know. I just try to be more funny in my everyday life. Like just say more shit again. Like start making jokes again and just making people laugh. That's another thing that's helped me. And a lot of thing with that too is just like that movie, The Joker. You know, I know there's a
The
lot of,
most recent one.
yeah, like there's a lot of like controversy with that, and people don't like it, people do like it, you know. There's something there, you know. And what I'm really trying to talk about, it talks a lot about like mental health, and not talks, it shows it rather, displays it quite beautifully. And just Joaquin Phoenix, like the moments where he's in the bathroom and he's like dancing, you know, he's doing like a little dance with himself, and then he's doing a little Tai Chi, you know, and I've been doing Tai Chi, something that's been helping me too. That's like letting energy out through motion. But anyways, you know, in that scene, he's just dancing around. He's just kind of like, you know, after he did something completely crazy, you know, he just did something but he's here dancing. That's something that reminded me, like dancing, and that's something that's expressive too. So all I try to do is express that with the energy that I have, and like energy can come in all forms, and any thought or emotion, it can come in all forms. But it's what do we do with this energy? You know, like another quote is like, you know, we spend so much time talking about how we don't have enough time, but then we spend time wasting it. You know, like we waste so much time, like, and it's like we complain about not having time, but we're living here right now. That's why living in the right now. This is when you're fully like you're like manhandling time, when you're actually in the now, you know. That's why you see a duck in the pond is not tripping at as a duck in the pond, like, you know. Like I don't know, it's like same with the human, except a human equivalent of being a duck in the pond is living this world of technological advancement. That's I always say this, but science and technology, that's our magic. That's our dimension, realities, universe's magic. What we're doing with science, you know, like that is done wonders for the progressive of humans, and that's what we're living in. So a duck doesn't have to worry about technology and society and human aspects, but you know, we just gotta just be as human as you can be. You know, this is kind of the art of human, be as human as you can be. So it's like I don't know, we're talking about like being human, like to be human means to get mad, to get upset. So we're talking about being like labeling. Yeah, you're gonna be inhuman and not let yourself feel emotion. You know, not let yourself feel anger. That's not human. So you gotta be yourself as human is humanly possible, like, and yeah,
And
because
that's that whole idea. I mean, because the interesting thing about the human is that, I mean, up to our knowledge, we're the only species on this planet that has consciousness, right? So it kind of makes us something in a way unique. But I
I would say
think,
we just have a deeper sense of it, but animals are very intelligent beings.
yeah, and the thing that I've been talking about a lot, and not even publicly, but just like within myself, and now I've mentioned it a couple times to people, but it's like I think talking about the animalistic needs that we have within us, like
Mm.
that needs to become more of a normal thing too. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, exactly.
sexual needs, like you said, anger, frustration. I mean, we're animals. If you look at a dog, what does a dog do when they're in their property? They freaking bark at the people that walk by because they're territorial. We're territorial. Like there's a reason that we feel the certain things that we feel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, especially like the sexual thing. I feel like, especially it's weird, like in especially Western society, it's like sex is taboo. Well, everyone be having sex, so But it's interesting because in certain countries, I think it's like not Norway, but somewhere I think in that area. Essentially, they were saying like the parents, once it's like I think it's 16 or something over there, like to be, over here to be considered an adults 18. I think some over there is like 16 or 17 or something. So essentially, what I'm trying to say is these kids be living with their parents, but the parents are going to be acting weird about the kid having sex in their house because that is just a human thing. Why do you got to make it weird with your kid? Why do you got to make sex weird? I think it's because the certain religious practices have been pushed, in modern America. But what I'm trying to say is, I mean, sex isn't a taboo thing. Like it's a human nature to release that energy. You can release sexual energy in other ways too. Like you might be sexually frustrated, so then you can. We're talking about painting. You can fucking paint a sexual painting. Like it's just there's a lot of things you can do with energy. Your energy is everywhere.
All right, Marlon, real quick, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and then everybody listening, we're gonna move on to the second segment of this podcast.
All right,
I'll be right
cool
back, man.
stuff.
Get yourself a drink or whatever the hell you want.
All right, some herb. All right, everyone. This is no longer the Art of Human show. This is the Art of You. Actually, no, this is not the Art of Human show. This is the Marmar show, Marmar takeover. All right. Now, everybody, I want y'all, everyone listening, I want you to pat your head. Just pat your head. All right. Now, just rub your stomach at the same time. Pat your head, rub your stomach. Pat your head, rub your stomach. Now, breathe. Now, breathe. Now, say, thank you, brain. Thank you for helping me, brain. Thank you, head. Yeah, tell yourself, thank you, head. Now with your stomach as you're rubbing it, thank you, stomach, for feeding me, or rather, thank you, stomach. Thank you, tummy. I don't even know what I'm doing, man. It's the Marmar takeover, and I don't know what I'm doing half the time. Yeehaw! So part of the Marmar segment is this is when Christian takes a piss. Christian is taking a piss. Christian is taking a piss. Do 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 do. Yeah. Yeah. What?
Okay.
Okay. Give me some sugar. No, I'm just
Get crunk.
get it popping. I don't think that's even an ad-lib, he says. I am looking for something. The universe is aimed towards helping you. Man, I can't. Essentially looking for my lighter so I can light this candle. Kristen. Oh, all right. Wait, so are you gonna cut anything out of this, or are you just gonna let it just
This
run straight?
transition period, we could. I don't know. I thought it'd be kind of funny to leave some of it if we want.
No, I was just wondering. Yeah, I was just wondering. Um, that I feel like there's so much I gotta say. Like I even had to say earlier that I didn't say, but
Hi, bro. We can
now,
make this a series on the Tao podcast. Just Christian and Marmar.
yeah, man. And when I do that meditation Monday, then I'll interview you.
That'll be fucking sick.
All right. It'll be funny because we're kind of like right now. I just love that Paul Rudd video where like he's like interviewing himself on the Hot Wings podcast or the Hot Wings thing.
Oh, someone edited it like that though, right?
Yeah, like he's talking to himself. Oh, I love that thing. It's just so funny.
That
It's
was
like
pretty
look,
funny.
and right now I
Well,
was gonna look.
there's the Joe Rogan one too, no?
Yeah, but the reason why I say that because I'm gonna say, look at us, huh? Look at us, like just grown ass men with some floral design shirts. Like, damn. COVID. Excuse me, folks.
All right, you want to move into the second part?
Yes. Once I light this candle, yes.
All right.
But if you want to say anything, bro, I've been talking a lot. I want you to say something. Talk to the people right now, man. What's on Christian's mind?
Well, I'm just honestly, I'm enjoying this apple, which is like this yellow apple. I
Okay.
forget the actual name of it, but I bought it the other day because I said I want to try something new, and it's actually delicious. So I would recommend go to your store and buy a yellow apple, especially if you're looking for a new fruit to try. Apple, very accessible too. During the podcast, I've eaten a banana. I've also drank some of this kombucha, hard kombucha. Berry hibiscus flavor, 4.4% alcohol, USDA organic, 12 fluid ounces. But I actually
what am
drank.
I? You're over here having a drink. I gotta have a drink with you, though.
I drank
You know
about.
what?
This was like I drank half of this like last night, so I've only really drinking like half of it.
Hey, it's still buzzing though, huh? Nah, I'm joking.
Nah, not yet.
I just but this is the one I was talking about. It's an orange peach mango kombucha. Yeah, I love kombucha. A lot of people gotta start drinking it more. You know, very healthy for your
Probiotics.
gut. Yeah, I'm gonna say probiotic, very healthy for your stomach. And it's just overall, it'll just bring out the spiritual side in you, the nature. It'll turn into the animal of who you really are. You know who you are? Baby snow owl. I'm just kidding. That's for my Parks and Rec fans. If anyone knows, Ben White is baby snow owl.
There's probably for sure some Office fans in the audience.
Yeah, I said Parks and Rec. Right?
Oh, Parks and Rec, my bad.
Nah, I'm just kidding. But no, it's. I think it's by the same producer. But yeah, it's a good show. Actually, real quick, I am actually. You know what? I'm gonna take your initiative. I'm gonna grab a little bit of like vodka or tequila to mix with this kombucha.
All right, sounds good.
And I gotta enjoy life, y'all. You gotta enjoy life. Like Rumi, he's a very popular, I believe, Persian poet, and he would drink quite often, and people consider him one of the most spiritually enlightened people of our time. And
what's his name?
Rumi.
How do you spell that?
M-I. R-U-M-I.
Oh, that's simple, huh?
Yeah, I gotta let you borrow the book.
When did this guy live?
When did he live? Oh shit, a history lesson. No, I was kidding. I'm not too sure. I can Google. Let's Google it. Let's do a little R&D, research and development. Okay, so his date of birth was September 30th, 1207. And that's another.
September 30th of what year though?
I said 1207, didn't I?
Oh shit! I thought you meant 1207 like time of day. You mean 1207 the year?
No, this fool's like from centuries ago. But yeah, imagine centuries later, your knowledge is still being passed on. And that's why I said earlier, science is magic. And that's why I love that show, Dr. Stone, the anime Dr. Stone, because it just really showcases the magic behind science and how knowledge and science can travel ions beyond our lifetime. So us living in the now and fully doing what we want to do and the knowledge that we gain from it, we can send it off to the world and it'll last for millions of years or centuries at this point. Like Rumi, people are over here reading Rumi poetry. You know, he was born in the 1200s. It's the freaking 2000s right now. You know, that's crazy, man. That's what I'm trying to say. Knowledge is power. With that, though, I'll be right back.
For people listening, I guess to build more context and in terms of my physical realm that I'm in right now, I also have some eucalyptus oil with me, which is kind of something that has become more consistent, is that I have an essential oil with me during a podcast. I like to smell it, just kind of relaxes my mind, I guess you could say, but I don't really logically think about why I have it. I just have it, I guess, if I had to reflect on it, because it brings comfort to me. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned, but I've also eaten half a fig bar. And I have here some Hershey's chocolate with, I believe, integrated almonds. That's pretty much what I've got here in terms of food and oils.
Guess who's back? Back again. Marmar's back. Tell my mom.
What did you get? What did you bring?
I've acquired a cup of tequila, which I'm going to mix with this orange peach mango kombucha, and it's gonna be fabulous, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna be delicious. It's gonna be
how much vodka did you put? Like 1 shot, 2 shots?
I put just like a shot, yeah.
Okay.
Shot. I'm not trying to, you know.
All right, so for you, how many ml is 1 shot?
Milliliters of a shot, it's like 1.5 an ounce, 1.5 ounces.
Okay, because I think it depends on the country that you're from. That'll dictate what 1 shot or 2 shots is.
Oh yeah, everyone has different alcohol laws. Alcohol laws. Alcohol laws. No, but seriously, are we gonna get on to the second segment?
Oh shit!
You keep wasting my time. I got stuff to do. My publicist told me this would only be 30 minutes. I'm joking. All right.
Well, for everybody listening, if you listen to the most recent podcast, the one with Melissa Cobian, we kind of used the format that I'm using here with Marlon, which is we started off building context. And in this case, we spent a good amount of time on context and just really conversing. And then now the second segment of the podcast, I call it speed Q&A. So I'm basically going to ask my brother a question, and then he's going to answer it quickly, as quickly as he can, intuitively. And then he's just going to ask me a question. So there's not much thinking. And I believe that's what makes this part of the podcast just kind of laid back and, you know, just super fun.
Gotta go fast.
So Marmar, where'd you get that shirt?
I got this shirt at the thrift store. I don't know what thrift store right now.
Okay.
I thought we were going to go back and forth. Come on.
You're supposed to ask me a question now.
Oh, yeah. Where'd you get that shirt?
Pa gave it. I went to Pa's house, and then I went there like in dirty clothes, and then we went out to eat. So then he let me borrow it, and I've kept it.
Fresh.
When was the last time you shaved your beard all the way?
Like 2 to 3 years.
All right.
When was the last time that you like cut your hair?
That was about a month ago. You were there that day at Tieleti's house.
Mm-hmm. No, I asked because you were growing out your hair. I don't know if your listeners, you know, your listeners, they pay attention.
I know. I'm just fucking with you.
You always do speed Q&A. Come on.
I know. It's your turn now.
I asked about your hair.
I told you. Oh, shit. Now it's my turn. Fuck. What made you want to get the piercing in your nose?
I've always wanted a piercing since a young age, like middle school. I told Ma, she said I'm gonna look like a bull, aka a toro. So I don't know. Ma wasn't really too about my alternative advances, you know. I wanted to paint my fingernails black and straighten my hair and put it to the side like Fall Out Boy or some shit, but you know. That's why I've wanted it since then. And then more people around me started getting it, and it was just more acceptable. I.e., like acceptable in my sense because I can just flip it up into my nose. I can hide it.
True.
You know, there's a lot of professional settings where they don't like septums, but yeah, I can just flip it in my nose. That's why I love it. All right. Would you ever get a piercing on your body?
I mean, I already have them on my ears.
Like no, like besides your ears, like on your body. Like I'm like yeah, like anywhere else besides the ears.
Uh, the nose would be the only other like probably from my current standpoint would be the only one that would possibly happen. But yeah, that's my answer.
Okay,
But who
nice.
knows? I might change my mind tomorrow. Who knows?
Let's go pierce our nipples.
If you could be anywhere in the world right now, aside from the place you're at right now, where would it be?
Bro, Japan.
All right.
Right now. Just hop on. I'll just do my whole Japan trip right now without taking the flight. I'll just teleport to Naga and get a nice little den, cozy little $20 Airbnb room. They have like really efficient living spaces in Japan, like because over there they're very minimalistic and I mean not they're very yeah I would say they're more like yeah minimalistic tight. I feel like America is more about like how much you got. Oh, there is more like how more condensed and like
It's
efficient you
very
are.
close. It seems like they have a close family dynamic, right? Too.
Oh yeah, yeah. So definitely that's where I guess I would go right now. Just do my Japan trip and save money on the airplane. And also save myself from you get a lag when you go to Japan from United States because it's first off is a 10-hour flight or even longer than that. And you're going to like different time zones. So like when it's night here, it's like daytime there. They're actually like a day ahead of us, by 12 hours or something like that.
Huh.
Yeah. So and then if I were to go to Japan, I don't have to deal with that. Not feeling
True.
all sluggish. But anyways, where would you travel to right now?
I'd go to Japan so I could be with you.
Hey, oh,
uh,
bromance. Nah, joking. No, like
um, when was the last time that you were just openly naked and did a lot of things that you don't normally do while you're naked?
I don't know. What do you mean not normal when I'm naked?
Like,
I've
for
done.
instance, maybe on the day to day, you get naked when you take a shower, you get naked when you're changing. But like, when was the last time you got naked and maybe walked around the house or like got naked and just read a book on your bed or like, something like that?
I mean, I do that quite often.
Oh,
In
okay.
the sense where like, yeah, if I'm just in my room in between changing, like sometimes you're changing from work, and I'm like, I'm just take off my underwear, and just
Just
lay on
chill.
the bed, chill like a freaking Roman or like a Greek
So
person,
you
and
do
just
that pretty often?
yeah. I mean, I almost feel like it's I don't know, nudity has been freaking, thought of as this sinful thing, but I mean, nudity is beautiful. I don't know. But so
Okay.
yeah, I've laid on my bed and naked and read
When's
books.
the last time you walked around the house naked? Or have you ever done
I
that?
live with oh man, I do that all the time, but I live with roommates right now, so I don't have many opportunities to. But if last time I was at the house, I don't think you or Ma were there. I walked downstairs, grabbed myself a drink from the fridge, just drank it butt ass naked in the fridge.
Oh,
I
that was
mean,
recently?
yeah, like I said, I do it quite. I don't know. I
Oh,
mean,
okay. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
yeah, like I said, I chill in my room. I mean, well, I'm gonna tell you, hey, Christian, I walk around naked around the house. Well, I mean, I could tell you. It seems like something very possible that I would tell you, but yeah, I guess we haven't gone around to that conversation until now. Yes, I've walked around naked, and there's something empowering about being naked. You're like,
True.
damn, this is my body, and I'm not trying to hide it. I'm not. You become almost more comfortable with your body when you're naked. You're like,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's like also when you have clothes on, you can put clothes on to hide certain aspects of your body that you don't like. You can like double layer up, and you won't see your uh your man tits. Like no, I'm joking. And I say that because that was something I struggled with as a kid. Like literally, like I had to go do surgery and stuff for that for having a condition called gladiostomastia or something like that. Essentially, extra breast tissue grows in the chest. So at one point, I wanted to always cover myself up, and just one way of hiding yourself from your body. But yeah, being naked, I think it should be done more often. I don't know. I mean, at the end of the universe, at the end when does it say all peace and love and everyone's coexisting happens, I feel like we're all gonna be walking around naked.
That's very true.
I don't know. I'm not naked, but I don't know. I mean, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. If I'm taking that statement back. No, for real. Yeah, I think we might be walking around naked like some Garden of Eve kind of shit. I don't know. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Chris was like, okay.
No,
I'm just
it's your
going on.
turn. So
Yeah, I'm going on a tangent right now. I forgot that we're doing the speed Q&A. My bad.
no, you're good.
Uh, isn't it? I asked you if you would go to Japan, and then you asked me.
I asked you when was the last time you just walked
Oh,
around?
walk
Yeah.
around. Okay, see, I'm not gonna ask you that because I think you had mentioned that to me very proudly. Nah, I'm joking. When was the last time you took a girl on a date?
Last time I took a girl on a date, it's actually I can't even think of it.
Mm.
I don't even. I mean, I've gone out with girls, but to label it as a date, that maybe's never happened. To be honest, I
Mm.
don't know. I mean, I'm thinking about a girl from back when I first started. I know. I mean, like it just I've never labeled it as a date, but I'm thinking of like 2017. Went somewhere with Anamacio, and we went. It was like he took a girl, which ended up being his girlfriend for some time, and then I went with another girl. Um, it's just I've never labeled it as a date, but
No, I get what you're saying. I just
last time though, I'd have to think it might have been that time back in like 2017 when I went.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Before
Uh,
the pandemic hit. Dun dun dun.
that was
Okay.
quite way before the pandemic. Um. hmm. Hmm. I'd say let's move on to the next part.
Let's do a little bit more. Let's do a little bit
A
more.
little bit more. All right.
All right, a couple questions more.
So what do you want to maybe get a little more?
Just how about one more question each?
One more question each.
Yeah, but you go. You kick it off.
Ah. If you could relive one moment, like one, if you could relive 1 hour, any hour of your existence, what 1 hour would you relive?
An hour of my
Yeah, you could choose
existence.
any, but you have 1 hour of any point of your existence. You could go back and relive that whole hour. Which one would it be?
Hmm. That's a pretty loaded question. There's a lot of moments, I guess. I guess the one moment that's coming to mind right now, right from the start, was like, I think it was my senior year of college, or right when I was graduating, and I took that trip up to San Francisco to visit someone, and it was just a solo trip. It was just me by myself going up there, and I always wanted to do that, camp on my own, and just travel. I love traveling, so I'm like, yeah, I want to see the California coast all by myself. And it doesn't not necessarily like all by myself, but like I want to just go do it. It doesn't matter by myself or someone else. So I guess the hour I would relive would be like one of the hours when I set up my campsite. Yeah, I would just relive that hour. It was just really, really beautiful. I mean, I set up next to the beach, and it was like this campsite right next to the beach. And it was just it was just windy. The sun was out, the sun was setting. Yeah, an hour of that sunset.
Okay.
Um, with this state of mind that I'm in now. And I say that because I would have just appreciated it a lot more. So I would definitely go back to, because I was literally like in a strawberry field watching the sunset by the beach in this campsite that I did by myself. And I was just chilling. I was just really with myself. And I think that was one of the first times. I mean, like I've done stuff by myself prior, you know, like I've gone to concerts by myself, like little shows by myself, or I'd go out to the bar by myself, or I'd go out, we do stuff by ourselves. But like that was the first time I went like on a trip all by myself and really just sat with myself. And I was like, that was a whole other that was like the time of me growing into, just growing into myself. And I would, yeah,
Okay.
definitely relive that moment.
Okay.
And since you asked me such a loaded question, I'm gonna ask you the same one back. Um, what hour of would you take back?
Uh,
Would you read or just experience again?
to be honest, to be super super frank right now, and it's so interesting to have a platform like this because it's like I've exposed or I've talked about a lot of things that I very don't share with not even like individual basis. And this is something that's available to just about anybody in the world. But I would go back to, there was a particular, and I'm not going to put names here, but I will give some context.
Okay.
And this kind of goes back to the question you just asked me before about the last time I was on a date with somebody. And the thing about me, I don't really label things, but matter of fact, after 2017, and you already know who this is, and you know, some people might know who this is, but there was a person that I was fond of. I think the word fond, what does that even mean?
Yeah, you're very delighted of them.
Okay, there we go. So there was a person like that in
You care
20,
about them.
2018 to like early 2019. And there was a moment where I spent some time with this individual. She was a girl. And we went to a particular part of the university at Cal Poly Pomona. And it was just a very beautiful moment. It was just like we were being two kids. You know, we were two kids in the Quans College. So for people listening, that's the college that my brother was at within the university.
Mm.
And this college is unique and it's special because I think it's the newest part of the campus, right, Marlon?
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
And,
yeah.
and
It's
this
one of the newest.
and this college is kind of strange because it's like on a hill within the campus. It's like its own like fortress.
I mean,
And
yeah,
so,
seriously, huh?
right? Yeah. And not too many people go up there unless you had a class up there. But what happened was is that I told this girl, "Hey, have you ever been to this college?" She said no, and then we went up there and we spent like probably about an hour up there just walking around, just being like kids walking in and just going through random parts of the building because it's like a new building, so it just like looks interesting and stuff. And it was just like a playful night, nothing like it wasn't even anything sexual. It was just like a very, and then afterwards we went to go get a bite to eat, and it was just like a very heartwarming experience. And
Mm,
probably just for the sheer fact of just like the kid feeling that went into that moment, I'd probably go back to that hour because of the kid feeling that I felt.
yeah, yeah. You were reverting to your true nature almost, right? Like,
Yeah, it was just being a goofball, and to do it with somebody else, it was like, you know, to me that's
yeah.
something special.
No, definitely. That's why I say the true nature, because it's being a kid. That's why you want to go back to that moment, because it's like you being
Exactly. Yep.
kids are
It just
super real. Like kids are real as hell. Like, a kid will tell you like, "Hey, your zipper's down," and that's kind of gross. Like, or you're like, "Oh shit, yeah, I'm sorry, kid," or like they'll point out super obvious things like, I don't know, like you can see it anywhere, like, "Oh, that person's mean," like you're just really dead ass. Like kids are dead ass, and that's why I mean you're being really real, raw. That's what I'm hearing. You're being raw with this girl, right? I mean, just
nah, that was
uh,
supposed to be a laughing moment.
no,
Nah,
joke.
nah.
Because everyone
But
was like, what are these guys talking about? Yeah, so you
what
were
what
raw.
happened? What happened? Recently at that family event when that little kid was coming inside the room and he was kind of hitting. What about that?
Wait, what? You have to. I don't remember. Like I remember, but you have to say it right
At
now.
Kevin's party, we had a little kid coming in and hitting us with stuff.
Oh yeah,
What does
okay.
that depict about the human essence?
About that kid.
Yeah, when he was just hitting us and being kind of feisty and
Um,
aggressive.
I mean, it was kind
Depicts the
of. It depicts his growing up, like his coming of age. It depicts his family. It depicts his environment. You know what I'm saying? Like,
mm,
because if a parent was teaching his kid to respect, and at any point, or you wouldn't just go around randomly smacking people. This kid was kind of borderline psychotic, like.
oh shit.
Well, I'm just saying, we've met just some kids like they're like, or, but that kid was just hitting us. Yeah, so essentially, this kid was hitting us, and we're like, at one point, it's like whatever, let a kid hit you, just being, but just being a kid. But then this kid really be putting some moves that be hurting, like. It's like if you have like a weak point, this kid will a kid could come up and just like squeeze your nipple really hard. You're like, oh, fuck, and it's like, and then you're like, all right, kid, that wasn't cool. And then the kid's like, like it's just trying to make you like, like, no, but seriously, yeah, yeah, I would just depict that's a kid reflecting off his environment. An environment or his upbringing is just like very broad, so you can take that into any account of anything. I mean, the way his family raised him, the way he is. I mean, each person has their own biochemical makeup that makes them react different to stuff. You know, we all gotta accept that. Who knows? Maybe that kid has something that makes him a little bit more like that. You know, more. You know, that's why I say his environment, like his environment of who he even is. Like maybe that's just how he is, and his parents have to allow him to be like that because the doctor said he has to release some I don't know. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, I get you.
maybe he has a certain condition where that makes him want to be more feisty, you know? Like I don't know. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like it could be on the parents,
A
it could
lot
be on
of
the kid.
variables, a lot
There's
of
a lot of
different variables.
variables.
The gray area that we're talking about.
Exactly. Nothing's black and white. Like, you know what I'm saying? Not I wouldn't even say there's like one thing could be the answer, but what leads you to that answer is a culmination of things. So there's not even one answer for anything, I would even say. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, some things are absolute almost. I say like maybe universal law or stuff like that, or like laws of physics. You know, that's why I still
The
like to abide.
closest to absolute, right? That's like the
Yeah,
closest
at
to it.
least that is consistency. You know, some things its truth is more. That's why I said science is like our magic because it can show the consistencies of the universe and we can like use it for ourselves almost like, and use it for the progression or of whatever. You know,
And I remember, uh, do you want to
because
finish what you're gonna say? Go ahead.
oh
Go
I
ahead.
just say I have faith in humans' perseverance and evolution. But continue.
Uh, it was just I was watching this is a while back, but it was a podcast with Joe Rogan and the name's not coming to me, the guest name, but it was the guy who talks about the principle of flow state. That he's probably the one that really inspired me to get into flow state.
Mm-hmm.
But he mentioned because I think he got his bachelor's or went to school for in philosophy, and he was mentioning how like knowledge or the things that are true are based on kind of what you said. Like it's you're recognizing certain patterns, and like once they become consistent enough, then you can like label it as being like true or whatever. But the interesting thing is that the patterns can change and then the truth can change, or we
Mm-hmm.
develop new ways into understanding at a deeper level, and then it turns out that it's actually the opposite. You know what
Well,
I'm saying? Like
that's
it's
a
interesting.
something, I didn't mean to interrupt, but there's like this line in Dr. Stone. I was talking about the anime that says that's the very essence of science. Is like it disproving itself and learning and continuously evolving. Because that's all it is. You know, that's yeah. I just want to throw that in there to what you're saying.
Let me go grab myself another drink and then we'll move on to the third segment of the podcast.
Sounds beautiful, brother. I really really appreciate you.
I got you.
All right, I love you, bro. And I love everyone who's listening right now. Seriously, if you took the time to get to this point in the podcast, I really appreciate you. Like seriously, like you took time out of your day to listen to this, and we just hope that we're providing some form of something for you. Ooh, I got a text. I'm joking. Wait, Kristen, I'm gonna go grab a drink too. Actually, be right back.
Where are you going?
Huh?
Where are you going?
I'm gonna go to the kitchen real quick
Oh,
to
okay.
top off.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm joking.
Um, man, I don't think you guys can. Well, I think while I'm talking, whoever's watching the video, you won't be able to see what I'm talking about. But if you look at my brother's side of the room, and I'll shut up for a sec, so hopefully the camera goes on that side. But you can see some of my brother's paintings on his wall. For people watching the video, my brother has some paintings on the wall, which are really cool. And Marlon, I was just
But like I
telling
was saying, what we really gotta do, we gotta start surrendering to the universe. Just kidding. What were you saying? What were you saying?
I was just telling the listeners about the paintings you have behind yourself. So like when you got up, you were able to see it. So like watch, like move to the side a little bit. Tell people about the three that you have on your wall, top to bottom.
You want me to show like? Wait, are you gonna show this video to people or?
Yeah, the video will be on YouTube. But like as you're talking, that I believe the video shows on your side. So
No, I get you. I'll show you. Yeah, I mean, if people are gonna watch the video, I'll just actually show the camera as
oh,
well.
okay.
And to the listeners, I'll try to describe as much as I can. But this one I call screw face, right? The screw face, because if you look, it was just this was after a night of painting, like very freely, like free formed, and it just kind of depicts like this part. I would just say even part of me, like this uh like neurotic madman who's smiling through it all, almost, like, you know what I'm saying, like kind of like if Einstein just freaking lost his screw, you know. That's why I call it a screw face, because if you look at the eyes, it looks kind of like screws, you know.
Yeah, it
And this
does.
camera's not really giving it justice, but and then it's a very simple painting. I wanted it to be like I didn't really, also I didn't go with any intention. I just let it start coming out, you know. And then when I finished like the smile part right here, or when I finished, because I originally started like this, you know, with the smile, and then afterward I started adding the eye. I'm like, oh, I'm making a face, you know, because like I said, I didn't go with any intention. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm making a face, and then this is what I kind of came up with, and I didn't want to add any more. Like once I finished the eyes, I'm like, that's it, that's the painting, like, you know. And like I said, it just really depicts like a happy neurotic insanity, like if like yeah, like a rambling madman Einstein kind of. I don't know, but I didn't want it to be too detailed, because that's another thing about very beautiful about this. When you look at it in person, it's like the face kind of changes. You can look at it and it's like you start like the face. It's because it's like just the eyes and the mouth, and everything else is kind of like left up to interpretation of the eyes. Like, you know,
Yeah.
you can look at it different angles and it kind of gives it a different look, like almost. And that's what I just loved about it so much. It's like very like just left up to interpretation as well, because like the white kind of contrasts the dark green and the blue and the brown, and allows it to just be like it's just left up to your mind. It's almost like a ghost, like with just like suddenly appeared with his face. I don't. So that's that one, right? And interestingly enough, both of these paintings were done like on a night of vibrational intensity, to put it some way, you know. And just this was like these were both made just like freehand, no like, oh, I'm gonna do this, you know. I just grabbed the color, whatever spoke to me, and just started doing something, you know.
Marlon.
Yeah.
Wu Wei.
Ooh, wait, yeah. I looked that up, or send me the thing. I think you had mentioned that to me before, but so this is the second painting, right? And actually, let me grab a lighter so you can kind of see what I mean. But if you look at it and you light the thing, you know, it kind of looks like almost like, it's kind of hard to see right now, maybe. But yeah, you get what I'm saying. It kind of like, I just started painting, and I just started painting this face. Like it wasn't like anything, like I wasn't really thinking I'm gonna paint a face, you know. I was just literally painting. I wasn't like, this is what I'm painting. I was just so enamored, immersed in just, I'm just painting, and this is what came out, you know. And it was just kind of like a face, and it was like I just started seeing the face as I started putting more red on there, and I just started painting the face that I saw, you know. And after that, it was very beautiful though, because at first I didn't have any of these black smudges you can see on it, but it's because I wanted the paint to settle. I was like, yeah, this is just gonna be a face, you know. And then eventually, like later on that night, because like I said, it was a night of just shenanigans. Not shenanigans. Shenanigans not a good word. Cause that's like, it's not like a hijinks. So it was just like a very intense vibrational night, like high frequency kind of stuff. What I'm trying to say is that those kind of nights you stay up pretty late, and I was staying up pretty late. And at one point, I was having a smoke outside on the porch of my friend's house, and I was just sitting there, I was just living in the moment. Like, this is like moments. That's the moments I live for. Like I was just there, you know, smoking and just looking up at the stars, and just the stillness of the night was wonderful. And you know, you didn't hear too many cars. You just heard like little animals and crickets. And I was just sitting there, and then like when I put the when I was like ashing the, you know, when I was ashing I can't even talk. But when I was ashing the stuff on the tray, I was like, you know what? Like it would be cool to add some kind of smoke element to this thing. So I just started literally like grabbing the ash in the ashtray and just smeared it on there, you know. And I didn't even think about it. I was like, oh, this is what this painting needs, you know. And I was just like it was just sitting there like at 4 a.m. just finishing it off, and it just felt really true to me, you know. It was like,
I
yeah,
feel like that, I mean, you pretty much have said the first two paintings that they've been all like I said Wu Wei, action without intent. It's just very completely free flow to the point. You know, you're so immersed in the moment that you're quite literally, there is no perception of future, which would mean that there is like, there's no intent. It's just feeling, you know, it's just once the moment you touch the paper, it seamlessly goes with whatever direction you go. And there's no, um, what that makes me think of it, like being in that mindset, and the way you just said how you grabbed the ash and just threw the fucking ash on there. Like, I think that's just an illustration of how when you go into that flow state, when you go into a state of like, you know, forgetting about ideas and all that, like you start to realize how much opportunity there actually is right in your face. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Like, hey, you know what? The ashtray, I can use that. It doesn't have to be fucking paint. You literally could have fucking spit on that shit and then just wipe it. And that could have been added to the art piece, you know?
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think it's
whatever.
interesting what happens when you just put the mind in those different, like you mentioned earlier, like the alpha state. You're not limited by anything. You start to
Yeah, yeah, especially when you're not identifying with the idea of what you should do. You know, like I just started painting with the color red. The color red was just the color speaking to me, and honestly, I think it's because the world did feel like it was a little bit on fire. You know, that I did that during COVID, and then I think it's like it's almost like a depiction of a dream that I had almost. You know, I had a dream one time. It was like I would say a year and a half ago, but it was like a 2-day dream though. Like I had this dream. It's like episode 1 the first night and then episode 2 the second night, you know. But it was like literally started as where it's left off. So in the dream, I just woke up here at my house in Pomona, like in my room, and like I was looking at my phone, like you just wake up, you look at your phone to check the time or whatever. So I went to go check my phone, and it was like my phone was blowing up with stuff. Like it was like the stock market crashes, Apple, Apple, Facebook, Tesla, like all these big stocks were just going down the shitter, but fast, like some crazy stuff. Everything was red, and then and then I was like, what the hell? And I'm like, but no one would like text me or anything. So like I started getting up and I look outside because you can kind of see in my dream like an ember going through the room. And I open it, it's just everything on site was like on fire, like anarchy, you know. It was like buildings in the distance on fire, just smoke going up in the air, people screaming, like, and then cars were driving by the front of the house. Like Anthony's car was flipped up on the lawn, you know. I was like, what the fuck? And I'm like going around the house looking for everybody, can't find anybody. And then the dream ends with me like going outside to finally like look outside, like what the hell's going on? You know, where is everybody? And I open the door and I just start walking around, and it's like this person. So the second part, it ends with me opening the door to go outside.
wait,
Excuse
wait.
me.
So the first part ends with you opening the door to go outside. The first part.
Yeah, because obviously no one's home. Everything's fucked up in my house, like, and then everything's on fire outside. People screaming, like you hear fire alarms, car alarms. Like it was like crazy. You know what I'm
And
saying?
then now this is literally in the real world. Now it's a whole new sleep cycle. You
Yeah, so I was like, I
the
woke up the
dream.
next day. I was like, well, damn. I woke up the next day like shit. That felt so real. Like it felt so real, like surreal. And then the next moment, the next night, I was like, go to sleep, and literally it picks off. Like I'm not even joking. Like in the dream, it stops as I'm reaching for the handle. The dream starts again, me reaching for the handle,
Damn.
opening the door. And I'm walking outside, man. Everything's effed up. Like I said, Anthony's car was in his thing. I'm just like looking under his car to see if he's in the car, Didn't see anybody. And I'm just go out to the front of the house, go to the street, and then like some car goes by and like people are screaming, like, yeah, fucking, like people are just going crazy, in the car, like was a bunch of weapons and stuff. And like girls like were like naked. Like I was like, what the hell? Like looked like people were like on this ravenous, like fuck it mode. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, yeah.
people were just like F it. Like if humanity just finally said F it, like F this structure, that's what the dream was. So I just started walking, like, because the car drives, like, blast by. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to start walking towards there because where are these people going? And it's just me going around, people like mothers screaming, like, oh, my daughter. It was like, fuck. It was like very, like, apocalyptic, like, as if the world just said F it, like, all at once, and everything was just a habit. And the whole time I was trying to reach people, but I couldn't reach anybody.
Huh.
And then I was just walking around, and then I just started turning the corner to go to the park. Like I said, it was in between, like me walking from here, like to the corner. You know how close that is. It was just me seeing like the neighbors on the freaking lawn, like the kids sprawled out and the mom crying, or like someone like, and I was like, what the F? It was just crazy. But I think that's what this painting maybe could have derived from that. But maybe it's slightly inspired by that, is what I'm trying to say.
That's freaking awesome.
But I had that dream before COVID. And I'm not, the world wasn't on fire since then, but
Oh wow, that dream was before COVID.
yeah, that
Like a
whole,
long time before, or when do you think you had that dream?
like a year and a half, 2 years ago, or something like that.
Oh shit.
All right, so let me show you the last painting though. That was one off topic, but this last one is from My Hero Academia. And the reason why I did that one is that one's just for fun, something that, but I had an idea in mind, it's okay to have ideas in mind too, like you don't always have to go in formless. Like, so the idea for this one though is because I wanted to let off some steam. I love anime. And for some reason, that character was just calling to me. Well, I wouldn't say some reason, because someone I was dating at the time really liked that character, I'll be honest. And there was a lot of qualities in that character that I really just initially already liked from the show, like before we had met. You know what I'm saying? And there was something about the character, maybe like her neuroticness, her almost like tsundere, like kind of thing. That's like Japanese for like a really intense girl who likes you kind of shit. Like she'll stab someone because she loves you so much, kind of thing.
Mm.
But what I'm trying to say is, I guess I correlated the two, that girl that I dated and that girl in the show. And I was just like, like I want to just create anime art, but also I'm going to add my own little twist and allow myself to just express some kind of emotion. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it kind of like, that's what this painting came up to, like, it was just like, it's almost like like, I don't know.
Which girl is that? What's her
I
name? Her
mean,
character name?
her, Toga or Toge or something like that. I think it's Toga. Let me see.
She's one of the bad evil characters, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's
Yeah,
Toga.
pull up a picture on your phone.
Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. I didn't want to like butcher it, but yeah, it's Toga. But I
Yeah,
just like
she's
her
one of the
character.
bad characters, right? Evil characters,
Yeah,
I
but I
mean.
really like her character. I don't know. That's why I don't think all
Wait, but
evil.
when does this girl come out? What season does she come out?
She's pretty right back almost from the start, from season
Really?
one.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
maybe like later season one. But yeah, I had already liked that character, and then like I really that girl I'm referring to about, I needed to relieve some emotion. That's why I came out with that.
Mm.
Yeah, I just needed to, like I said, I really wanted to paint some kind of anime, at the same time relieve some kind of emotion, and I just had this idea in my head, so I was like, let's just do it. So that's what happened with this. Like, it originally just started with just the girl, right? And then after, it was like, oh, I'm just gonna paint some stuff around it. What I did like an acrylic pour. I wanted to do like kind of make it look like she had like this negative aura around her, you know.
Yeah.
This sounds all bad, but
No. Oh, the thing, honestly, because my brain's always calculating shit in the background. Like, I'm just thinking right now, it's kind of so interesting because I feel like everything that you've been talking about during this whole podcast, like, it's almost like if
I'm
you
telling
just look at like your room aesthetically behind you, it's like, holy fuck, this guy, literally everything you've said is right behind you. I bet you have the Genie Within book behind there. I bet you have the Alchemist book back there. You have, obviously, we just finished talking about your art. You got a fucking fish swimming in the background on your TV. Like, I mean, you got your fucking sound pads against the wall. So obviously that relates to the music. I don't know. It's just kind of fascinating how it's like everything you talked about, it's quite literally being depicted.
yeah, it's like I didn't want to sound like a certain way, but yeah, I'm keeping it real, like I'm keeping it
Yeah.
authentic. I'm staying true to myself, staying authentic. I'm not gonna let the world warp me, and I'm doing me, and this goes down to, we've been talking, brother, but people listening, it's like I'm just doing, just doing what I say, or walk what you talk, or like quite literally just embody everything I really am, and that's what I am, and I'm living up to that, because yeah, I want to be as authentic as possible. And I guess I didn't even realize that. Like, you're right. Like, yeah, me having the music pads and the paintings and the book and everything does correlate with everything. It kind of showcases everything I've been saying. But yeah, it's because it all boils down to me keeping it real, authentic. You know, I think there's even strength in authenticity. There's strength in you being yourself. You know, that's where the true strength lies. But yeah, I guess all those things that you're referring to is just me really being immersed in myself. Like, yeah.
And it's interesting because I think that's always the truth with regard to everybody. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like don't get me wrong, like for instance, having a messy car doesn't necessarily mean the person's their whole life is fucked and they don't give a fuck about themselves, like, but I do
Mm-hmm.
think that if you look at a person and you look across the board, like, where does their room look like, what kind of clothes are they wearing, what kind of foods are they eating, what's their nonverbal language, you know what I'm saying, like you could kind of, I don't want to say easily, but in a lot of ways you get to see a lot of what someone is just by everything they touch and everything they do and everything they have around themselves. And it's something very subtle, and it's something kind of, I wouldn't have ever picked up on something like this before. But you know, just kind of like now my eye just kind of picks up on stuff like that. It's just kind of interesting. Like there's no hiding from the truth. The truth is always evident, you know?
Yeah,
From
exactly.
the neutral mind, from the objective mind, from the mind that is not judging, you can see a lot of things, like a lot, you know?
Oh,
Like
definitely.
even recently, something that I've been, now I have, I guess you could say, the ability to do is like I can meet somebody, and like I was at Walmart, right? I was at Walmart, and the lady was just a super nice lady. We wasn't even that long of an interaction. Then she said, "Oh, if you're my manager," she's like, "Oh, I thought you were one of the managers." I'm like, "Oh no, I'm just here to buy something."
Mm,
And she's like, "Oh, like," she's like, "Would you give me a raise if you were the manager?" I was like, "I would give you a raise right now." She's like, "Really?" She's like, "But you don't even know me." I'm like, "I know you're a nice lady." She's like, "What do you mean? You just met me." I'm like, "I could tell you're a nice lady." And it's like, the
mm.
reason I bring that up is just like, sometimes it's not that deep. Like you can meet someone and within seconds you kind of feel them. You know, it's like, oh, I know Marmar's a good guy. Like
Mm.
obviously there's like certain levels of complexity that, like, okay, I don't know everything about you, you know. In certain instances, it's maybe harder than other times to read somebody. But other times it's like, oh yo, like I fuck with you, like I feel comfortable around you. I don't even know why, but I just feel
Yeah, so
comfortable around
yeah,
you.
you just have those instant connections with people, and those are the best. You know, I love those connections and those friendships. I mean, sometimes that there are moments where that could be a red flag in certain occasions, but normally, like if you instantly connect with someone, there's a reason. You know, there's a reason behind that connection, and you shouldn't ignore that. If that makes sense, because that's kind of like a rare thing. You know. Yeah, definitely a Christian. You know, it's definitely, like I said, a rare thing to have that instant connection with peeps, and you shouldn't disregard that. You know, maybe I think we should dive deep into that. And it's like the whole idea of energy. I've been spewing energy, but that can even go to a whole other thing. Of like, what is like, and all the energy in the universe has been dispersed since the Big Bang. You know, all the energy that's been created is created. And it's like, yo, are we gonna use it?
It's like I was
Are
just
we
thinking
gonna
about
sit
that.
around and perish? No, I'm joking.
I was just thinking about that quote or that common saying of like, or I don't know what scientists say it, but it's like energy is not never created nor destroyed, right? So like
Exactly.
whatever energy exists just always exists, no matter whether I'm
Ex-
alive, I'm dead, I'm
or
this, I'm
what
that.
form you take, you
Yeah.
know? And that's actually kind of ties back into me talking about my painting, the fire one, you know, the like the fiery red figure, and me taking the ash. Like literally right after that, or maybe like a week after, I had like a synchronicity moment. And that's why I always say pay attention, live in the moment, because like universe is always talking to you, God is always talking to you, whatever you want to call it. You know, it's always communicating with you in different ways. The universe can communicate with you through your own brother. It can communicate with you through your through some random homeless person on the street. It can communicate to you in different ways. Like, you just always got to be alert and pay attention and looking for the signs, the clues. The universe is always dropping hints, like, you know what I'm saying? And those hints, I would say, sometimes are synchronicities, which is like me using the ash and wiping on there. I think it was like the next day I listened to Alan Watts, like one of his talks, right? And he had referred to ash and how it's such a it like resembles like the idea of energy just being transformed. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could have been a piece of wood, but now it's ash. Ash is gonna fertilize the grass that helps the grass grow. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it all goes full circle, and that's why it's the whole idea of oneness is being displayed, solidified, is being confirmed every single moment. And the less we start living in like not the now, then the more we're gonna start seeing good in our lives, you know. And it's kind of like that's why right now, people have said it, I've said it. Like, right now is like the grand awakening, the coming of consciousness. And consciousness is just being aware. Like, being conscious is just being aware of the moment and yourself, like your true self. You know what I'm saying?
So to really, I guess, technically get into the third segment, it was, it's called Humanity Talk, which honestly, I feel like in a way we've kind
We've
of
been
already
talking. I mean,
in
that's
a
been
way
like
we've been pretty much, that's why this podcast is actually so seamless. Like, it's all kind of just it's been one thing since the start.
smooth,
Uh,
smooth. I was gonna say smooth podcast, bro. But sorry, Miguel.
but I guess to be maybe a little more specific, or maybe address particular concerns with the, let's say, external world,
Okay.
in this day on, what are we, um
March
March
20th.
20th 2021, 2:49 with 15 seconds PM California time. What's on your mind with regard to the human race, the current state of it, maybe some pros and cons? Because I feel like sometimes to be honest, like, when I ask people the question, like, what's your message for the human race, typically, and I just had this reflection moment recently, but I was like, most time it's like telling people, like, be kind, or be this or be that. But, like, let's talk about, in your opinion, what's some of the good shit going on right now, and what's
Mm-hmm.
some of the shit that we need to, like, work on, that you feel in this present day.
Let's start with the latter stuff we could work on as a whole planet. Accepting reality, accepting the now, and like quite literally surrendering to it. You know, surrender to what is and what had happened and what is ever changing. The universe is dancing and we are the dance. You know, we can't help what's gonna happen in his life. You know, as much as we'd help, as much as we'd pray for, as much as we can talk, we've been talking about subconscious and self-help and all this stuff, like manifesting. And at the end of the day, this life can still take a dump on you. Like, to put it in layman's terms, this life will always come back around and smack you up. But it's about like accepting the reality of the now and dealing with it. Absolutely dealing with whatever's face in front of you. Because we, like, so many times we don't just deal with what's in front of us. So that's what I mean by accepting the reality in which we inhibit, live in, like, we have to accept it. And what I mean, but once we accept it and surrender to it, like, we always ask, like, why does it have to be, why does it have to be all this hate? Why does it have to be racism? Why does it have to be this? We just have to accept it. Like, yo, that shit's there, but what are we going to do about it right now? What's going to happen? What am I going to do right now? Am I going to sit in my room and fucking hate the world because everyone's stupid and everyone's racist and hateful? And no, like, I'm going to do, oh my God, that burp ruined the moment. But like, it's just all about accepting the moment. So that's something we all got to work on, is accepting this reality. And I'm saying, like, we all, so we can, there's a difference between, like, we all believe the reality which we're born into, but we have to accept it, like, that's what it is. But we have to take advantage of that, the fact that we're living, we're alive, we're breathing. That's what we got to work on. We're alive, we're breathing, we're so healthy. I mean, not all of us, but there's a lot of us who are technically still alive, healthy. We can do something to better the next life, and that's really what it is. It's about bettering the next life, and that comes from, like I said, just accepting reality. A lot of people don't want to accept reality, like, and even whatever terms that it is, like you can get mad. I can get mad right now because fuck, I owe like 28K in student loans. Fuck, But what am I gonna do about it? I'm gonna work hard towards a better future. So there's another thing. Like, living in the moment doesn't mean you can't prepare for the future. I mean, that's what it really means to live in the moment. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna do something to manifest my dreams. I'm gonna do the things that it takes to manifest. And that's why, on top of accepting, is like writing the stuff that you really want to do. If everybody did what they really wanted to do in this life, this planet would no longer be the same. But we're all just kind of like, we're all battling with the reality we have instead of accepting it and doing something about it. Like, just doing something about it, not just sitting in here complaining. The perfect example right now is people just arguing online, complaining, and then they don't do anything. You're just gonna argue with someone, call them a dumbass for being whoever they are or whatever they believe in. You're just gonna berate them, and then after that, that's suddenly gonna fix society. It's gonna fix society by berating and berating people, just being negative towards people and arguing with people online. Like, that's really gonna help society? No, like, it's accepting this shit. Yeah, this shit happens. There are racist people, there are hateful people, there are every types of person. And that's a whole other conversation about yin and yang. The whole idea of the only reason why we can think of what's good is because they have something to compare it to, which is the bad, quote unquote. You know what I'm saying? And it's a rather of just using those labels as terms to help us in this life, opposed to just getting so caught up in it. Like, and like we've been talking about science, this whole thing too. Like, the idea of what's good and bad, air quote on both of those, is always ever changing. Like, we're always learning new morals and stuff like that. That's the cool thing about humans. Like animals, you see in nature, animals rape each other, but humans were like, nah, we're imposing our will on another creature with our own will. That's not right. So that, what I'm trying to say is, stuff like that is always being updated. Like human rights or human stuff is always being updated. And that comes a lot too, like I said, accepting a reality and doing something about it. Like, instead of just complaining, that's, yeah, literally, okay. Yeah, that round I popped off, but that's what I gotta say about the stuff
we need to work on.
Yeah, just stop complaining and just do something and take advantage of the moment. And I say that to myself. I've complained about that. You, at the very beginning, you said something about gratitude. That's something that helped me too, is just being grateful for the basic shit. And I say basic shit. Oh, I have a roof over my head. I can eat. I can use the bathroom. I can take a shower. I can sleep in a bed. Like, my family's healthy right now. Some people don't have all this basic stuff, but I'm trying to say is, like, when you start really be grateful for the small things, and we say it's small, but they're actually the huge things. Yeah. We wouldn't be able to sit here and worry about if Johnny's dating Susan if we didn't have a fucking room and an environment to ponder and ruminate on that, like, so we just got to appreciate the small things. And when you start appreciating, quote unquote, the small things, aka the things that really matter, if we're talking about hierarchy of needs, you need I'm just happy right now. That's what made me even more happy. Like, I'm just grateful for things, like I said, just basic stuff. We're having this podcast. I'm grateful for that. Like, I'm grateful for the roof over my head. I can call my mom. Some people, like I said, some people don't have that, but we got to be grateful for the things we do have. And like I said, accept in reality. Because that's a lot of where the fear and the pain body can arise from, or the ego mind is not accepting what is and not fully living in the moment. Like, a lot of people, I want to ask them, like, when was the last time you actually sat on the couch? Like, just sat there on the couch, like, not sat there and think about your day, or, you know what I'm saying? But just,
oh shit,
just sit on your damn couch. Like, actually just sit on your couch. Like, we don't do that. It's hard. I did that the other day. I was just sitting on the couch, chilling, like, literally doing nothing. And I was like, for a second, we always got to rewire our brain. But at a moment, I was like, damn, I shouldn't just be sitting on my couch. Like, nah, I'm sitting on my couch. There's a reason why I'm sitting down. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just gonna sit down on the couch. And I sat there for like 5 minutes. I didn't have any thoughts, just vibing on the couch. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I mean by accepting the moment. Because I mean, for some reason, I sat down, right? I sat on the couch, but then we could always just sit on the couch and be like, man, I really shouldn't be sitting my ass on the couch. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, sometimes you just gotta chill and just actually enjoy.
Appreciate what it is that you, like you're sitting on the couch, you have whatever it is around you, the space around you, the fact that you have the time to just sit on the couch and not have to fucking go find food and shit.
Yeah, and just sitting, which I like, something that helped me is just like Zen Buddhism and talking about oh my gosh, I keep burping, but Zazen meditation, Zazen or whatever, essentially seated meditation. There's power in just sitting down. You know what I'm saying? Just sitting down and just giving yourself time to just even take a breather. Like, nowadays, we're just so stimulated by everything. We don't just ever. That's why the Zazen meditation, like seated meditation, really has helped me. Just sitting my time. This world can wait. We have time to just take a seat and just relax. You have time to do that. You
I
know
mean,
what I'm
let's be
saying?
real. Like every one of us could fucking die and everything would still be fine.
Yeah, you're not gonna be. Let's say one night all you want to do is sit back and watch TV. You know, after a long week, and you can sit there and be like, oh, I really should not be doing this. Watching TV so bad. Obviously, there's a point where if you just obsessively watch TV and do nothing else, okay, yeah. But if you're just like giving yourself some time to watch some TV and chill, like, don't sit there and like give yourself this whole speech of what everything else you could be doing is. That's what you need right now. And it all ties back into like your body and your mind and your soul. You got to feed your body and your mind. Sometimes your body just wants to chill. Your body doesn't want to go out and fucking solve the world's problems, you know. And that's why we can't solve the world's problems. You don't just take a moment to chill, you know. Like, if you're literally sitting every moment just like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, like, it's never gonna get done. Like, it's not gonna get done because you're gonna be doing the quote unquote thing you want to do, but you're not gonna be happy to do. You're not gonna be doing what you really want to do. If that makes sense. So
And you're probably gonna be anxious as fuck.
yeah, so let's say you have we talked about music. We've had music events or open mics or stuff that I could have gone to, and it would have helped my musical career, or it could have just, I would love hanging out with all my artist friends, or I love just connecting with people. I love being out around art to inspire me. There's connections and emotional things at those shows. But sometimes you just feel like saying, you know, I'm just gonna stay in. And there's nothing wrong with not constantly pursuing the thing that you really want. Because at that point, you're like, it's just like tunnel vision. You don't see the beauty of it all. So it's okay to just take a step back and chill.
That's basically the way my life was for like all my life. Oh, I would say there was definitely some brief moments where I got to live in the moment, but for a long time, especially in college, and you know that very well, when I was running in class, like that was literally me.
You're like a robot, bro. Yeah, like
Yeah, I was like, I couldn't sit somewhere. I couldn't just chill. I couldn't just do that. I was always thinking about what I could be doing to better myself at whatever.
yeah, but then when you do those moments where you do the thing you know, like the betterment or the goal that you have, but you're not in the right state of mind, you're not gonna fully be there.
See, you know what? Like to make it practical, because before my logic was like I need logic to like be comfortable doing something. Like I couldn't comfortably do nothing because like I didn't have any logic behind it. But now it's so simple for me. Like when your anxiety is just at the right level, when you're not anxious, but you're also not bored, you're in that alpha state that we're talking about. And when you're in that alpha state, there's a higher level of connectivity with everything you do. I mean, we could even talk about us being on this computer and me being in the alpha while talking to you. If I'm in the alpha, I'm nice. I'm interested, but I'm also not like, I'm also not bored as fuck. Like I'm listening to everything you're saying, and I'm in a way almost connecting with literally everything you're saying. And then it's like we're having this like legitimate like connection where everything you say isn't going into me, and then I'm shooting it back at you, and it's just like we're having a very wonderful conversation. And I know that people will perceive that the same way that when I watch a podcast, I'm like, damn, those guys are having a good conversation. They're really into it. You can perceive that kind of shit. And guess what? It takes less effort to be in this zen, and it's way fucking better. So it's just,
Yeah.
I think it's about having, I think what the hard thing, at least for me, from my point of view in this life, the hardest thing is just practicing patience. And that's pretty much it. It's practicing patience. If you have the courage to practice patience and just have faith and surrender, like you were saying, in the universe, I think that's the hardest thing. But that's the only thing you ever really have to do is practice patience and just have faith, you know, have faith in the universe. And like, you will be able to do it. Like, have faith in yourself, you know,
Yeah.
have the
No,
patience,
definitely. No, yeah, patience, you know, not
patience.
we got like part of accepting this universe and the universal laws and physics. Like you can't have everything you want right now.
Yep.
Manifestation doesn't happen overnight. I mean, you might have a moment like your song might blow up overnight for some reason, or whatever, your podcast for some reason gets hella views because of something you say, but like that's possible. What I'm trying to say is it's like a culmination of a lot of things to lead up to that, you know, and building up towards that.
Um,
So
from
we're
your
gonna say,
standpoint, the second part to that question was, what do you see in society today that you're like, wow, like that's fucking tight. Like I respect that. Or like maybe even if it's something particular, something that you've seen within the human race that you're like, damn, like
all right,
I'm
I
really
already
proud
know.
of the humans for that.
I just the internet.
The
Like,
internet?
yeah, I mean, we wouldn't be able to do this right now, Kristen. Right now, we don't have the damn internet. You know, people wouldn't be arguing about everything. We didn't have the damn internet. People wouldn't be before. And man, think about it. If you want to see a raccoon with the birthday hat on in the 1950s, yeah, okay, to see a raccoon and you're in an area that's raccoonless, or let's say, right? You have to go to the library and find a book, like look through the library, go to the catalogs, find a book about raccoons, and then like, oh shit, this is how a raccoon looks like. But now I can just instantly look up online raccoon with birthday hat on. I can look up raccoon eating watermelon slice. That shit will come up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm just trying to like explain. That's why the internet is so beautiful, because it's connecting all of us. But that's why a lot of quote unquote issues are coming up, because maybe it's like bypassing our levels of evolution tenfold, because the internet just super connected everybody. But that's the beauty of what I mean. The internet. Think about it. We're sending invisible wavelengths through the air, so you can see me right now instantly. Like that's nuts. And that's why I think the internet's like a culmination of humanity almost. Because like you don't see Wi-Fi in nature. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, and like I said, the whole point of it was the reason why I like it so much. Like obviously we all have our issues with it, but it really just connected everybody, you know? And that's what we needed. We need to be connected to get more of an understanding. So like you don't go to some part of the world and be baffled by something and then say something that's completely you being not educated on a certain fact, you know. But now like if I go to Japan, I can look up Japanese cultures online in an instant and realize not how not to offend anybody. Like, or like, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Like it's just everything's at our fingertips. Like you connected to the world in the fingertips. I can make a video right now saying "fuck you, world" and put it on Instagram. And like, if you go on my profile, the whole world can see if the whole world goes on my profile. But that was just I just use extreme examples. But yeah, it instantly connected everybody, and it's the culmination of what I've been saying earlier of science being magic. Like this shit would be magic. Imagine if a caveman was like, who? You can see somebody on the other side of the plains or something. Like these fools have to like run miles just to go get some meat. But now we can fucking go down the street and get some steak. Like,
Or you can order that shit on Postmates, bro.
even you don't even have to leave your house. The hunter gatherer thing is out the window, you know. And like I said, that would be because of the internet. You know, because of the internet, I'm able to go on this app DoorDash and DoorDash myself some curry chicken. You know, I can get some curry chicken right on my doorstep fresh in 20 minutes. Like that's nuts. Like a delight. You know, before that we had this. I guess I said internet, but I guess what I'm really saying is science or technology. You know, that's really, yeah, that's something that's positive about humanity, science, technology. And I guess, yeah, because I guess I said internet, that could be the most recent scientific and technological way that has connected society. That's why I said the internet specifically, but it all ties down to just science, you know. that's what I love. Like I said, I've been talking about Dr. Stone as an anime I really like, but like in that show, it kind of also teaches you too, like what you have to do to even get to that point. It wasn't like to get internet wasn't no easy feat, you know. It took
That's true.
years.
That's what we need to dwell in is think about what it took to even get to this point.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like being grateful about what the quote
And do you
unquote
know
small
how,
things.
like, do you know a little bit about how the internet came to fruition?
I mean, you have to make a tower, right? To send out radio or like certain wavelengths to different towers that pick that up, or you send it to a satellite that then that satellite sends that wave towards another, tower kind of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the
But
amount of
that's a very like simple. I'm not gonna be like, I don't know the whole scientific breakdown of the internet, but I mean the core value of it is a tower that picks up everything we send to it. It sends those invisible waves to a satellite or something, and it sends it somewhere else, or it sends it to another tower and it sends it somewhere else. That was the biggest, because communication, improving communication. Because imagine before this, if we didn't have the cell phone or the telephone, we'd have to wait weeks until I heard some shit from somebody. Fucking, yeah, you have to wait back, and a horse had to be traveling like some carriage across America or like a state just to send a letter to your loved one. But now I can instantly say I love you to someone.
see,
I can instantly email someone I love you, and they can get it right now. Like
and
that's the crazy.
the thing that I want to bring up, and um the thing that I guess would be, I've never done this actually, which is kind of interesting, but I've never gave like my message to the human race, but let's give it a shot. If I
Christopher,
were to
what's your
give
message to the human race?
if I were to give a message to the human race right now is with regard to everything we just said, it's like right now is the most, in my opinion, my opinion, I think it's the most important time to have self-awareness because of technology being at its most advanced it's ever been.
Yeah.
And we just said the word speed. What would have taken hours, days, weeks, or maybe never happened in a lifetime could literally happen within a second. The fact that we have that speed at nearly a lot of people's hands means that it's the most important time to have self-awareness. Because right
Exactly.
now, there's an infinite amount of opportunity, an infinite amount. And if you don't know who you are, if you haven't played enough, just giving yourself the ability to just play and try a lot of different things, then you're going to just run yourself to the ground. And that's coming from myself, because I feel like that's where I was at. I was in a path where I thought I was like in that rat race where I needed to get to the next step, when in actuality all I needed to do was just play, so then I could actually be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so many opportunities right now and it's so quick that if you don't just give yourself, like, if you don't
Know what you want.
yeah, if
Like
you don't put the like the self-awareness part, like, I feel like you're gonna drown yourself. Like, you don't need to have shit figured out right now. You don't need to have shit figured out in a month. You don't need to have it figured out in a year. Like, it gets figured out when it gets figured out. It's not when you decide it. Like,
yeah,
it's when it happens.
you're essentially drowning in a sea of information if you allow yourself in the internet, you
Yeah,
know?
like, like, what I'm saying is, like, especially for people who might be listening who are like younger or whatever, maybe don't have as many commitments, like don't have a family, aren't married or whatever, like, and even for the people who do have commitments, like, you could do whatever it takes, I feel like to find that stability, even if it's just having faith in nature or having a connection to nature, or even just spending an extra 5 minutes every day just to look into the sky and just kind of sit down and be on the couch and just touch your arm and touch your leg and just having some type of gratitude. And I don't know. I
Mindfulness.
think I think this is the most, like, this is the time where it's the most important. Like, before there wasn't as many things. So it was like, in a way, things were actually more simple. There was like less power, so there was less responsibility. Now there's more power with the internet, so there's a bigger level of responsibility. But the beautiful thing is that we consciously have the ability to move ourselves and put ourselves in a better position. If I'm in a position where I feel like I'm falling apart every single day, I
Mm-hmm.
consciously have the ability to strive towards getting out of that position. Now, contextually, it's going to be different for everybody. But I think that's where that whole concept that we talked about earlier, surrendering yourself, accepting yourself. You can be saying to yourself, God damn, my shit's so fucking hard. Like for that person, it was easy because they have this, and this. But the truth of the matter is that you are who you are. And no matter how many adversities you have in your life or how the cards have been stacked against you, there's not like it's just what it is. Use that as your fucking strength.
Mm-hmm.
When you surrender yourself and you start getting better and better and better, tell people your story, tell people your truth. And then now you're transcending what was so fucking all the pressure that you had on yourself, and you're transcending that into inspiration and emotion that could prolonged for thousands and not millions of years. I mean, I'm sure a lot of the artists and people that we talk about today were probably under the worst and worst of circumstances. Some of the most beautiful things blossom from the most amazing pressure, from the most tremendous pressure. I mean, we could talk about it even in artists today. Some of the biggest, most famous people in the world today were literally under the most terrible circumstances. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yeah, and the circumstances are always changing, like you referred
circumstances are
to.
always changing. Maybe they get fucking better tomorrow. Maybe some shit happens that just boom, all of a sudden, like holy shit. You
No,
know what I'm saying?
that
Something could
along with
change.
the level of what problems or what quote unquote problems could be, like we were talking about the internet and how that opens up a whole new world of things we got to deal with. So does each generation has its own things they have to deal with per se, like their own troubles or whatever they have to deal with. Their yeah.
Well, I think we honestly had a fucking amazing podcast.
Yeah,
Uh,
we could probably go on all night.
so I'm thinking for people listening, I don't know if you really like this podcast, people listening, leave
Yo,
some
let's
feedback. Leave some feedback. Go to Tao Podcast. Go in the description of this podcast. There's a link to get in contact with me. If you enjoyed this podcast, if you really liked my brother and his content, we're gonna put his social media on the description of this podcast. You can find. I also put a link to find his music. Um, Guys, if you really like this podcast and me conversing with my brother, or you really like my brother, let me know. Give us feedback, because that is you communicating with us. And then I don't know, maybe we'll do more collaborative stuff, because I think
what
we have
No, I
something
don't. I'm
going
never
on
gonna
here.
collaborate again. I'm never gonna collaborate with you again. Nah, but no, definitely. Like, thank you everyone for listening. Giving us your time, and hopefully you gain something from taking the time to listen to us. Realistically, we hope that we spread some kind of awareness and happiness and love within yourself. Like, that's all me and my brother really want. Realistically, I know that's what we want. And yeah, it was great talking to you, Christian. I had a fantastic time, like always. And our relationship is always reaching new levels of depth and intensity and articulation and just being aware of everything. I mean, we're on a similar path, and like you said earlier, we're brothers, and you can see that very clearly throughout this whole podcast, and people who have listened to you. But I'm just glad. I'm just happy. I'm so happy we got to do this, and I'm so happy that anybody listened. And I'm just a jolly old goat. I'm just a jolly fellow. Joking.
And real quick, I just want to say again to everybody listening, because I'm honestly just so thankful if you got to this point. And I mean, if you got to this point, it's the only way we're really gonna hear what I'm about to say. But I just want to say I'm thankful so much for you, for supporting the podcast, for supporting me, because it means the world to me. And that's the only reason that I'm at this exact particular moment, is because of the love that I've received from people. So thank
And
you
my
so much,
brother's been working
everybody.
hard. Kristen's been working hard. He's not gonna admit it, but he's been busting his ass with this podcast. He that's another statement. He's really been working hard. He puts out podcasts weekly, bi-weekly. He's giving you content like you've never seen content before.
This guy.
He's working hard, and everyone can see that, Kristen. So I want you to know that everyone can see you working hard, and you're providing a service to the world with this podcast. So I want you to know that, brother. I love you, and yeah, let's keep doing this thing. You know, let's keep living life and just living in the moment and spreading peace and love and whatever. No, uh, but yeah, thank you everybody. I love y'all, and Christian, I'll probably text you after this Zoom call.
You don't have to cut it. Well, I'm just gonna end the recording.
Now I'm
I
cutting.
I love you guys. Love you listeners. Peace out.
Peace out, y'all.